Jake was born, everything seemed fine, but early on I could tell that he wasn't developing the way that I thought he should. I remember when he was first holding his bottle, I would have to take his hands and put them around the bottle and keep my hands there as well. It was as though he really didn't care. As he got older and his speech was delayed and he wasn't walking, the doctor said if he's not walking by 14 months, then we'll get him some help. And the doctor would say he's fine, he's the second child, he's a boy, they can be delayed in their development. And of course he wasn't walking by 14 months, he would scoot on his bottom. So by 14 months, he said, okay, we'll, get involved with an organization called ECI Keep Pace. And so they came and they did physical therapy with him and they got him walking by 17 months and they said, okay, and great, he's walking now, everything is fine. But there were still behaviors that didn't line up with the normal children. We set up an appointment to go to the school district and have Jake tested. And literally, we walked in the room, they took one look at him and they said, we don't want you to be alarmed, but we want to test him for autism. And I began to cry, but it was a cry of relief. Like, finally, someone else is identifying that there's something wrong. He's not normal. As you would identify a normal child. They tested him and they said that he definitely had these spikes of intelligence, which we had seen. He taught himself to read before he was 3. I think when he was 3, he had already taught himself to read. He would do puzzles, he'd flip them upside down, he'd do puzzles upside down. Obviously, he was intelligent, but he wasn't walking on time. You certainly couldn't understand what he was saying. He had these social interactions that were very odd. And so they identified those and said, yes, he is definitely on the autistic spectrum, and they immediately put together a plan for him, and an instructional plan for him.
With the school district, it's not one-on-one just because of the manpower situation. And we weren't really seeing as much progress as we were hoping to. And at that point is when we talked to Including Kids and started talking to them about what they could do for them. And we started him about a year before he started kindergarten at Including Kids. And we saw a very dramatic change in his progress.
What I would advise parents, if you have an infant or you have a young one and you're not seeing them develop the way that you feel that they should, definitely have that in your mind. Don't just take what the physicians say. They see kids in and out all day long, and usually you're starting with your GP. You're not starting with the specialist. As a parent, we just have this intuition within us to know when something is right or when something isn't lining up. And if you have that, don't squash it. Follow after it. Seek out others that may have the same type of children or the same type of symptoms that your child that you're seeing in your child. And don't be afraid. I've talked to other parents inside Insperity, outside of Insperity, that have been in the exact same situation that we've been in. And I told them, don't be afraid to find out if there is a diagnosis, because if you get a diagnosis, you know what you're dealing with. The hardest part is not knowing.